We are diving deep into a singular, pretty intense piece of analysis today.
Yeah.
It's a huge journalistic investigation that tries to map out the future, and it focuses on one very specific year.
Right. The title alone is something else. 2026, the year of systemic breakthrough.
It is.
And it reads, I mean, it's a challenging read. It's less of a forecast and more of
Yeah.
a strategic scenario.
And the authors, they just grab you from the first page. They say the world isn't, on the path to chaos.
No, not at all. They say we are already in it,
Yeah.
completely immersed.
Exactly. And their main point, their really sobering assertion, is that 2026 is when the thin shell of accustomed order just cracks.
Mm.
So our mission here is critical. We're not just going to report on a gloomy prediction. We need to get into the logic. What is the mechanism that's supposed to be driving all of this?
And that's what makes this investigation so compelling. It's how it connects crises that seem totally unrelated.
Yeah.
You've got geopolitics, technology, demography, even social psychology, and it's all woven into this one unified theory.
A destructive synergy, as they call it.
That's the key phrase. The breakdown isn't from one catastrophe. It's from everything hitting at once.
Okay, so let's unpack that synergy. Let's start with the biggest picture you can get. The global power structure.
Right.
The fundamental idea driving this whole thing is that the unipolar world is, well, it's over.
Decisively over. They describe the United States as a giant, but no longer a hegemon.
What does that mean in practice?
Well, it still has massive military and economic power, of course, but it's not the undisputed global stabilizer anymore.
It's not the world's policeman.
Not anymore, no.
Uh.
Its attention has turned almost completely inward. The source says Washington is now just a battlefield.
A battlefield.
Yeah, preoccupied with its own internal divisions, struggles between elites, that kind of thing.
And that preoccupation, that turning inward, it creates a vacuum of power on the world stage.
A huge vacuum. And the authors argue this directly sets the stage for what they call the big military year 2026.
That's a terrifying label.
It is.
And the material points to 3 immediate flashpoints ready to just erupt in that vacuum. Ukraine, of course, Taiwan, and the Middle East.
But here's the really crucial analytical leap. The authors refuse to look at these as separate fights.
They're all connected.
Intrinsically linked, and they're linked through the 2 most vulnerable bottlenecks in the whole global economy.
Which are?
Logistics and energy. They call it the circulatory system of the global economy.
Okay, so let's trace their domino effect scenario because it really shows that connectivity. It starts with an escalation around Taiwan.
Right. And the immediate result of that is the paralysis of these critical shipping routes in the South China Sea.
Which matters because...
Because a colossal volume of goods goes through there. But more specifically, a huge amount of liquefied natural gas, LNG.
And that LNG is vital for places like Japan and Europe.
Absolutely vital. If that supply route gets cut, their economies just seize up.
So while the world is panicking about a gas shortage from Asia, the scenario says simultaneously you get serious instability in the Middle East.
Even if it's localized, it doesn't matter. The immediate effect is that oil prices go to what they call astronomical heights.
Wow.
So the system is just so fragile because all 3 of these things could ignite at almost the same time. There are no reserves of stability left. There's no single power that can step in and calm things down.
A global gas problem from Asia, skyrocketing oil prices.
Mm-hmm.
That means a new, incredibly powerful wave of inflation.
And global recession.
Yeah.
And the money, the resources have to go somewhere.
And this is where it gets really harsh for everyday citizens.
Mm-hmm.
The political system, faced with this kind of instability, it makes a very clear choice. We're looking at a forecast jump in global military spending of $300 billion.
It's a single year.
$300 billion. I mean, to put that in perspective for you, that's like the entire annual budget of several medium-sized countries.
Just redirected into defense.
It's a huge non-productive use of capital. You just have to let that number sink in.
It's massive. And it shows the system is prioritizing hard security over everything else. The material puts it in very, very stark terms for the average person. They say, people will pay for war with their future.
And that's not just a dramatic quote. It means real budget cuts.
Exactly.
Even in wealthy nations, governments will choose rockets and shells over social programs. Education, healthcare, infrastructure, all of it gets cut to pay for immediate security.
Development sacrificed for defense. And this instability, it just hammers long-term planning, which is the perfect bridge to our next topic, the technological front.
Right. The authors claim that these geopolitical realities are collapsing the whole green transition. They call it a brown reaction.
A brown
So
reaction.
why would the push for clean energy collapse right when you think we need it most?
Well, they list three factors. First, the same supply chain chaos we just talked about makes all energy infrastructure expensive. That includes solar panels, batteries, wind turbines.
So the clean option isn't cheap anymore.
It's not cheap or reliable in a chaotic world. No. Second, when countries face real scarcity, they get pragmatic. They turn on what works.
Coal, oil, nuclear.
Whatever keeps the lights on. Necessity just completely trumps ideology.
And the third factor is the big twist, the AI paradox.
This is fascinating. The very infrastructure for advanced AI, for training these neural networks, it consumes a colossal amount of electricity.
Almost indecent is the phrase they use.
It is. It just needs constant, massive power. So we're building this super intelligent future, but we're powering it with the dirtiest energy of the past.
And they give a specific number for that, right?
They do. By 2026, data centers just for training AI could use as much electricity as, say, Sweden or Argentina.
An entire country.
An entire country's worth of power. And when you put that kind of demand into a constrained, unstable energy market, well, you get the brown reaction. You have to burn more fossil fuels to feed the AI.
So if AI needs that much power and capital, what happens to the technology itself? The analysis predicts a moment of truth in 2026.
Yeah, and it poses a great question. Is AI a bubble, or is it an instrument of dictatorship?
And the answer is?
Both. Sequentially. First, the bubble part. Investor hype about AI solving every problem overnight. That's going to deflate. It won't happen fast enough.
So tech stocks tremble violently.
That's the phrase. But the dictatorship aspect is actually more profound. Governments suddenly realize what a powerful control tool they've let private companies build.
And they start to regulate it aggressively.
A scramble to centralize that power. And the human cost of this, combined with the economic crunch, is mass layoffs.
But not just in factories. This time it's white-collar jobs.
Exactly. Lawyers, marketers, analysts, programmers.
Yeah.
An algorithm is just cheaper. And it works 247.
So this creates a brand new economic divide for you to think about. The sources use the term digital poor.
Contrasted with the digital aristocrats.
And the aristocrats aren't necessarily the people who write the code.
No, not at all. They're the ones who own the AIs, or, and this is crucial, they're the ones who know how to effectively set the tasks for the AI.
Okay, this is a key point we need to explore because it's a mental leap most people aren't ready for. The analysis says without these skills, you become an economic invalid.
Think about this shift. Your old job, maybe as an analyst, was to do the work. You opened Excel, you ran the numbers.
Right.
Now the AI does that instantly. Your new job isn't doing the work, it's asking the right question, judging the AI's answer, and controlling the result.
A shift from tool user to agent director.
Precisely. It's a totally different skill set. And all of this is happening while society is being destabilized by what they call informational chaos.
Automated news factories, deep fakes, turning disinformation into the business of the century.
Because the core economic incentive has completely flipped.
The source argues that it's now orders of magnitude cheaper to create a convincing lie than to create truth.
And they give this chilling example. Imagine a perfect deepfake video of a central bank head announcing the country is defaulting on its debt.
Markets would collapse.
Instantly. Before anyone can prove it's a fake, the people who made it have made vast profits by shorting the market. It makes manipulation incredibly efficient.
So this is actively eroding any kind of shared reality. The investigation concludes that by 2026, most people will just stop understanding what's really happening.
That's the end game of the information war. Paralysis of critical thinking on a global scale.
And into this chaos, you throw in the demographic time bomb.
Which is just this massive chasm. On one side, you have aging places like Europe, Japan, and especially China.
China is critical here because of the one-child policy aftermath.
A huge labor shortage. They're desperate for young workers. And on the other side, Africa. An explosion of youth and poverty.
Millions of young, connected people with no prospects at home.
And when those two realities collide, the North needing labor, the South needing survival, you get a new migration storm, one much, much more intense than in 2015.
Because for millions of people, this isn't about opportunity, it's just about survival.
Right. And for the receiving countries, which are already unstable, this influx creates colossal social tension. And it just fuels political radicalism.
So if you tie all these threads together, the conflicts, the job losses, the disinformation, the migration, it all leads to the biggest risk of all.
general fatigue.
The total burnout of trust.
In every institution, politicians, media, economists, experts, everyone. If you're exhausted by uncertainty, you don't trust the news, you don't trust the government, the illusion of stability is just gone.
And the analysis warns what happens next is predictable. When faith in the rules just disappears, who steps in?
The answer is terrifyingly simple, they say. When people stop believing in rules, power is taken by the one with the gun.
People get so exhausted by chaos, they become willing to trade freedom for order.
A simple, clear, even harsh order. They'll accept a dictatorship if it just promises things will be quiet and stable.
And to lock that order in place, the analysis brings in the final piece of the control puzzle: weaponizing money.
Specifically, central bank digital currencies, CBDCs.
And this isn't just, a better version of Apple Pay.
Not at all. The game-changing difference is one word: programmability. We need to pause on what that really means.
Okay, so right now, money is just money. If I get a paycheck, it's a number in my account. I can spend it on anything.
Exactly. But with programmable CBDCs, the state can issue, say, a welfare payment that can only be spent on certain things.
Like food.
Right. Only on essential food in specific stores, and it has to be spent by a certain date.
And if you don't spend it by the deadline...
It just burns up. It disappears from your account.
Yeah.
This gives the state total control over the wallet.
Not just watching what you do, but dictating it.
And critically, it gives them the power to disconnect anyone they see as undesirable from the entire economy with a single click.
It's a perfect storm. Geopolitics, technology, demographics, psychology,
All.
amplifying each other until the old system breaks.
It's a very comprehensive scenario. But, and this is important, despite this apocalyptic picture, the report ends on a practical note.
On personal resilience.
Entirely. They don't promise the system can be saved, but they offer a survival strategy for the individual.
So what's the most critical pillar of that strategy for someone listening to this right now?
It has to be the first one. Continuous learning is no longer an option for your career. It's a basic condition for survival.
You have to learn faster than the world is changing.
Or you become one of the digital poor, an economic invalid. The second pillar is about the info chaos. You have to become your own analyst.
Don't trust the headlines.
Don't trust any of it blindly.
Yeah.
You have to seek out primary sources, check facts. The responsibility for figuring out what's real shifts entirely onto you.
And the third pillar is building robust personal systems.
Diversifying your income, yes, but also strengthening your real social connections. Family, friends, your local community, not just your online networks that could be switched off.
The message is crystal clear. Stop waiting for the state or a corporation to rescue you.
The responsibility is now completely on the individual. They end with a powerful quote, a sort of Darwinian principle for this new reality. The strong will not survive. The adaptable will.
So we've broken down this incredible storm of crises: geopolitical fractures, digital division, and the psychological fatigue that opens the door for total control.
Yeah.
And the analysis really hammers this idea of individual adaptation, learning new skills, strengthening local ties, and that is all absolutely sound advice.
It is, but
Yeah.
here's the final provocative thought we want to leave you with. Something to think about after this deep dive is over.
If the entire system is truly breaking down, is it enough to just save yourself? To survive in a small, isolated group?
Is that a sufficient long-term strategy? If all the old institutions are discredited, maybe the next stage of survival, of true adaptation, isn't just about individual skills.
Maybe the real imperative is a collective one.
Finding new ways from the ground up to rebuild community, to rebuild trust, to rebuild shared rules outside of the centralized systems that have failed us.
A necessary refoundation in a world that has run out of trust.
We'll leave you with that question as you face the adaptable future.